Well, hello everybody, and good evening, and welcome to the Slim Nation One-on-Ones experience. I'm Slim Overton, of course, and I have a special guest here with me tonight, and her name is Wilberta Carter. And if you all haven't seen her since your high school days, she's Wilberta Gibson. And I think somewhere in there, McCoy was thrown in there, but she's Wilberta Carter now, and um, been knowing her for a long time. I remember the Mount Carmel days, going on those trips to DC and things like that. And then, I think, well, I was ahead of her, so I went to high school first. And then later on, I'm at Union on campus, and who do I see walking across campus? Roberta at Virginia Union. So she attended there and Norfolk State University. So we're glad to have her on tonight. And we, these one-on-ones I like to have. I'm glad I have this platform so I can bring on one thing, my friends, and bring on people that want to share some information with you. And sometimes it's personal and it's not the easiest thing to do, but sometimes it can be therapeutic when people come on and share their journey and therapeutic for them and probably help someone else out there that's listening. But Roberta is here and to talk about, well, one thing, she's a part of a book. She has the chapter 2 in a book called Unraveled Threads, The Journey of Rebuilding My Life. And the book is by Kathy Staten. And she has a chapter in the book where she'll talk about that a little bit, but she's not going to tell you everything because we want you to buy the book. But it's called The Darkest Hours, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But first, Roberta, I want to know, how did you get to be involved with this book? It seems like, and I haven't gotten the book physically, but I got it on Kindle and really read your part. Um, because I wanted to be a little familiar with it. And always like to have the physical book. That's just something in me, but I'll get that later. And uh, Miss Staten shared a very personal story about losing her son. And then she had the opportunity to let other ladies share their journeys through something that was sort of life changing. So, how did you get involved with her as far as being a part of this book?
Well, it's the same thing, the same place. I met her at Mount Carmel Baptist
Oh,
Church in Portsmouth. I've known her for over 10 years. We praise dance together and just had women's fellowship together. She started by writing her story, Surviving Her, many years ago. So she's had several books for the past couple of years. And just by chance this year, I'm going to say God just kept whispering to me that it was time for me to share my story. Um, I am not comfortable writing, but I just went on faith and decided to write. So when Kathy put the call on Facebook, I answered the call and told her that I was stepping out on faith, and I got help, and she helped me. So that's how I got involved, because I already knew her and I felt comfortable with her, and she provided guidance and assistance. So, yeah, that's how I got
wow, that
involved.
was amazing. I guess that was a real experience once you start writing and you had to kind of relive that time and,
Exactly.
you know, uh, and a very personal
Mhm,
story.
mhm.
And having to relive that. But I really think, and when I read it, I saw some things about my journey that I had, and I'm sure a lot of other people will feel the same. And it's always comforting to know, if you read something about somebody else's journey, that you didn't stand alone in the journey that you had. Because sometimes when you're going through it, you think you're the only one that are
Yeah.
going through something at that time. Because that's the way it feels. You're kind of isolated in your own feelings about what's going on with you, and being able to share it with other people is something that's amazing and not the easiest thing to do. Can we look for something further from you?
I think so.
Maybe because
I
you
think
might have a lot to say.
I probably do. I probably would now go from what has happened since my life started rebuilding to present day, or go all the way to my comfort zone and write something for some children because I'm a retired teacher, so I would be really comfortable writing something for children. But I want to tell you that one of the resources that Kathy extends, she extends a writing coach. And I really didn't know. Of course, I said, yes, I would do this. But then I was like, so what am I going to write about? So the writing coach, um, we had a Zoom and we sat down together and I just started talking to her. And at that point, while I was talking to her, I was crying. I was here in my room crying. So, and she just gave me guidelines and different things, different aspects of things to put in the book and put in my chapter. And so that also gave me reassurance that it must have really been meant for me to do this because she was crying too. So both of us are crying. And she said, yes, you really need to write this because somebody else needs to hear this. And I had
Yeah,
suppressed a lot of it. I had suppressed a lot. I didn't realize.
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
not always the best thing to suppress
Mm.
emotional feelings like that. You know, some people feel like that's the best way. I'll keep it to myself.
No,
But holding all that in sometimes is not the best way
it's
to deal with grief. And we deal with grief in different ways, but you know, one of the ways is like you're doing now is expressing yourself through writing and coming on shows like this and talking about it.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for giving me this avenue. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thanks you for agreeing to come on here, you know, and you know, it's a whole lot of other things. We're going to look forward to talking some more. A lot of other things we can talk about union, and I want to hear about your teaching career. So
My God.
this is just the beginning. But I want to talk about something else that you went through personally in your life, and you agreed to talk about that as well. But before we get to that, just to say something a little bit about your chapter in the book. One of the things, you know, teaching was a big part of your life. I think that's something you probably always wanted to do. And one of the things that uh, came from what we're going to talk about in a little while was having to stop teaching
Yeah.
before you were ready to do that. And I think a lot of people have gone through that. So how did you um, how did you make it through that? Because most people I know that are teachers, especially from back in the day, I can't speak for the ones today because I don't know them, but I know a lot of teachers, and I was in school with a lot of them, and it's a real passion to being able to teach those young minds. I think you had fourth grade.
My last year, I taught fourth grade, but I did
Okay.
kindergarten.
Oh wow.
And I actually got to high school because I actually taught at Norcom.
Oh, did you? What a
Yeah.
wise decision that was. I think of some people walking around now
Mhm.
better for that, for you getting to know them and teaching them. But how was you know that was probably one of the most and it was many one of the most difficult decisions you had to accept. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't something like you say, well, you have a choice. I mean, how was that? I mean, and I think you probably well, I'll let you express
Well,
how.
it was, you know, I taught for 32 and a half years. Let me just say
Mhm.
that. And you start getting kind of close to being ready to retire at about 30, 31, 32. But I still enjoyed it. And at that point, I had transferred to Newport News. I left Portsmouth
Mhm.
year 22, and then I transferred over to Newport News. And it was a different experience. So that kind of boosted me back up too. But it was hard because that was all I had done. I worked my other jobs. I had worked at the bank. I was good at it, but it just didn't fulfill me. I worked at a daycare. That was fun because I was around children. Um, where else did I work? I can't even think of it. But anyway,
Yeah.
uh,
Was teaching your goal when you were in
yes,
college? Was
yes,
that something? That's
I
what you went
I
to
came to
do?
the union to become a early childhood education teacher. I even wrote in my high school yearbook that I wanted to be a teacher or a child psychologist.
Oh wow, you made up your mind pretty. And I always ask people on this one-on-ones, was it any influences that you had that were around you, either your parents or people or some of your former teachers that sort of guided you in that direction?
Well, I went to Douglas Park Elementary School,
Yeah, so did
and
I.
uh-huh, and I had Mrs. Catherine Trent, my second grade teacher. I will never
Miss
forget Miss
Trent,
Trent.
Portsmouth Boulevard.
Yes, and she and she was also a member of Mount Carmel, so I saw her
Yes.
6 days out of 7. But it was just something about the teachers way back yonder, as I told the children. It's something about the old teachers that was just inspiring. They loved on you, and they taught us out with the little things that they had, the little resources they had. They taught us, and we actually learned and held on to that education. So I would say Mrs. Trent. I had Mrs. Williams. I think I had Mrs. Green um, at Douglas Park. So I remember them. Oh no, wait a minute. I had Miss Myrick. That was my first grade teacher, and I loved her.
Yeah.
I loved her. Mhm.
I remember all those teachers.
And Miss Keel. Miss
I
Keel.
didn't have them. I had Miss N.L. Smith,
Okay. Okay.
Miss Atkins, and Mr. Bird, who was a member of my church.
Well, Mr. Bird was my uncle. Mm. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, y'all were related. Mr. Bird, and I always tell people, I said, if you didn't make it out of his class, you just didn't want to because he
Exactly.
would not let his students fail. I'm not saying he would let you slide through,
No.
but I can remember taking tests and he walked by and looked and said, you sure you want that answer? And he wouldn't give you the answer, but he would say,
Then you go back and
You
check
sure that's what?" Especially if the answer was way out of line with
it.
one of the choices you had. And I thought that was the sign of a great teacher. And I remember all the teachers I had at Douglas Park were older, like you mentioned, and it
Mhm.
was like a nurturing thing,
Yes, it was.
that you felt comfortable, you left home and you got there and you had the same kind of nurturing
Mhm.
and as far as your learning. So,
Well,
and I always tell, go ahead. I'm
my
sorry.
mom was the nurse there, so it wasn't like I got to, escape. She was there. Okay, so
Yeah, that's just like me being at Union, my dad being on the board of trustees.
yes, yes, yes.
But anyway, and I still messed up. But anyway, but
To tell you, I missed it, but at that point in my life, it was more survival. I was in a survival mode then.
yeah,
So, but I also got to teach at church because I'm on the youth children's ministry. So I got to still teach and work with the children. I did vacation Bible school and Sunday school. So I got to still teach. It wasn't the same as going to work every day, but I still had that interaction. So
yeah. And that church thing and the faith is going to come up a little later. And before I want to play this little short uh, audio. And before we do that, I always tell the teachers, and a lot of you teachers don't realize how many people, or do you ever sit down and think how many people, all of those 32 years, how many people you affected? Because I can remember each one of my teachers from the first grade up until um, going to Union, as a matter of fact. But that's the kind of effect they had on me. I talked to some people, and I don't remember my first grade teacher, but I can remember because the effect that they had on me. Do you realize? Do you sit back and think sometimes, say, "Wow, 32 years. Wow, think of all the
I,
people that came through."
I'm still in contact with a lot of my students. Um, I taught a whole family of, of children, and
Generations.
yes, they call me auntie. So whatever graduations, marriages, or whatever, I'm invited to everything that they do to this day. So yeah.
Yes. And that's why it's important to read this book too, because people see teachers, and not all people realize that you also have another part of your life
Mhm.
that continues on even when you're not in the classroom. I know I used to look at my teachers and think that's all they did, and they didn't have any problems or any care in the world. But as you get older, you realize that they have a life, they have a family, and things go on with them as well. So, and then they have to get up and come in there and smile
Yep.
and take care of somebody else's kids every day. So we really appreciate that. But let me play this short, and we'll get into.
Fibroid is a benign or non cancerous growth of the muscle portion of the uterus. Fibroids are most often diagnosed in those between 20 and 40 years of age, says Mayo Clinic's Dr. Michelle Louis.
And they're certainly more common in people of African descent.
And fibroids don't often come in sets of one.
Majority of women do have more than one fibroid, especially women of African descent. They are more likely to have more numerous fibroids or larger fibroids.
Symptoms that might require treatment include a heavy or prolonged period.
If you're changing a pad or a tampon every hour, if you're not able to go to work or do your normal activities, that's something that may require treatment.
Or when fibroids get so large and begin to exert pressure on the bladder or colon
and cause difficulty with urination, frequent urination, or difficulty passing bowel movements.
Then it's time to seek help. Treatment depends on the size and location of the fibroids. Dr. Louis says she wants patients to know there are options.
Help is available and that we can help them achieve a higher quality of life and they don't have to suffer from fibroid related symptoms.
For the Mayo Clinic News Network, I'm Dee Dee Steepen.
Yeah, I just wanted to play that so people watching could get an idea of where we're going here. I think when we talked before the show, last month is always a focus, and very well it should be, on breast cancer in women.
Mhm.
Uh, but of course, there are other cancers that affect women, and some of them pretty rare, and some of them pretty common. And you talked about an experience you had there along, as we talk about dealing with life as it is, life be lifing, like they say nowadays. But this is something that you experienced, and uh, if you will, just kind of talk about that experience and how was it. Well, go ahead, and I'll let you start off and talk how you want to talk about it.
Okay. Again, I'm a school teacher, so I had no symptoms at all. Um, I just so happened to do my regular bathroom break every day, and I noticed something, and I called my doctor immediately. When going back to the classroom, I called my doctor immediately. I went to the doctor that day because he saw me that day, and he couldn't help me. Went to the gynecologist. She couldn't help me. I had a procedure done, and I was diagnosed with uterine cancer. It was shocking. There were no symptoms for me except for what I just heard, that your cycle changes. Now that happened, but at that point, right then, I thought I was in menopause. So
Yeah.
when I saw something, I was really in shock, and I guess that's why they took me so quickly. Um, so there were no signs, no symptoms. To this day, I have never had any pain. I had no pain. I'm thankful for that. I thank God for that. I had no pain, not from the cancer itself. I didn't have any pain. I had difficulties during the treatment, but not during before I had the surgery. Um, and I found out right before Christmas, right before we were going home for I'm sorry, for winter break. Um, and I had surgery um, Martin Luther King's birthday, and I never went back in the classroom. So I came to work in January, and then I never went back after I came home for Martin Luther King's birthday. So that was a shock. But again, I didn't have any signs or symptoms. And that also has given me a call that I think that I need to do something for women that have gynecological cancers, because there is no test for it. So if I didn't see something, or if you didn't have unusual spotting or bleeding or pain, it could have just killed me, and I just wouldn't have known.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing because I, the no symptoms part, and I don't know if it can be hereditary or something like that. And you heard the doctor say sometimes it's prevalent with Black African American women, like most cancers are for some reason. But and when I talk to guys, I say pay attention to your symptoms. If you feel something, sometimes we try to shake it off, or oh, I feel better today, so I'm okay. But with no symptoms. So what would I mean? I know you're not a doctor, but what would you say to women? Because maybe it was I don't want to call it a blessing. Well, maybe it was fortunate that it kind of came later with you, because it sounds like it could be something if it was came to a younger woman before
Pay
she
attention.
had children, it could affect
They would not pay
because
attention to it. They wouldn't pay attention to it.
right.
I'm a little persistent. I'm gonna use that lovely term. I'm persistent. Um, I feel like everyone should be an advocate for themselves as a with your
Sure.
health, which I know you understand that too. Um, if I thought I was in menopause, then the and if I saw, and I would just say I saw spotting. That's what was going on. That's why
Hmm.
I reacted so quickly. I wasn't going to take "you can't fit me in." I called and told them, I said, can you see me today? And they said yes. So I left. I went to the office and told them that I had to go to the doctor. So I'm taking care of me at that point.
Right.
So the survival instinct turned it, into what it is. Um, I think that all women should pay attention to whatever's going on. And just like it said, your cycle will change, but if your cycle has changed to the point that you are bleeding, to the point that you are changing it every hour on the hour, that's too much. And you shouldn't, when you go to the doctor and they say, oh, it's okay. It's not. Now you need to start documenting what's going on so you can present that documentation to the doctor. Don't say, oh, I think it happened in January, but it didn't do this in February. You need to have a step-by-step documentation of what's going on. It has changed since last month. I'm having cramps, or they'll ask you about your bowels. Has your bowels changed? Anything that you can document, you need to document that and speak to everyone. If you didn't understand what was going on, you could always call your insurance company and ask different questions. We just don't stop at the doctor, because you need to pursue your health. So that's what I did.
Yeah, and what you had, that type of cancer is different types of it, and is one that's quite common and easier to treat, and one is kind of rare.
Mhm.
Uh, did you have the one that was pretty rare that took some aggressive treatment?
Oh, of course, because I'm so special. I couldn't have just a
You
regular.
couldn't just have the old common
No,
cancer. You had to.
I had to have a very aggressive. That's what he told me. It was very aggressive. In fact, the name is called serious something 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 something, but it's aggressive. And
Hmm.
so he told me that he wanted to treat it aggressively. So
Yeah, and I think you said it was at stage 3.
stage 3.
So it's been,
It's only 4, so again, I'm top notch. I can't just go to 1 or 2.
you can't just, you couldn't
I
cut it at one.
had
But by your own description of it, I mean, it was no symptoms. So it was, it's no way you could have caught it at one if you didn't know
right.
what was going on. But
And the staging part happened at the operation point, and it's because tumor had entered, it had gone outside, the growth, yes, but mine had gone, they removed some lymph nodes and they removed 13 lymph nodes and they found cancer in one. So when they did that, that automatically took me from stage 2 to stage 3.
And I know some of this you're saying there is in that chapter in the book, but I wanted to, you to share that because I think it's important especially for younger women to be, like you said, an advocate for themselves. I always talk about that too. Don't accept no for an answer if you really want to be seen, because they'll tell you, well, we don't have anything for 6 months from now. But look, somebody's going to see me. Or
Exactly.
when you go there, certain exams that you think you should have, you should ask for it, because, a real young woman, it could be devastating because it could keep you from having children down the
Exactly.
road if they have to treat it a certain way or remove ovaries or something like that.
Exactly.
So talk a little bit about the treatments. You said it was aggressive, so I guess they had to be aggressive with the treatments and
Yes,
the hair loss and all that.
I had the complete hysterectomy, and that in itself, that was okay. I will tell you that I still have my port. They keep trying to give me to take the port out, and the port is something for you to take the transfusions. Okay, and that was the worst thing for me was that operation, that part. That was the worst for me. I don't know why, but that affected me more than anything. But after
What
the
pain wise
yeah, 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 I
or
don't
having to have the port?
having to have it and where it is, I can't even put
Oh,
my head back anymore because I get dizzy if I put my head back. So I can't
yeah.
do that anymore. But I had the surgery, and after that I had 28 rounds of chemo. I had 25 external and 3 internal. And then I had radiation. And for all the people who knew me a long time ago, I had a head full of hair. So
Mhm.
I have been bald. So I thought I was cute bald. But
You were. I remember that. And
and,
what I didn't know, Roberta, remember that was I looked at some of the dates you mentioned, and that was the same time I was going through what I was going through.
that was
But
one.
I remember, because there were times where I'll be all right and I'll be, out and about, and then be other times I was in the hospital. But I remember, you going through your stages of being bald and bold and beautiful, with your makeup and everything. And from the outside, no one could really tell except for that look that, what you were actually going through physically
That was
because you just, you know,
that was one reason why I didn't come and see you because I was going through my own. I didn't
yeah,
want to bring you any germs because I couldn't fight the germs my own self. So
yeah, the immune system. Yeah, we know about that.
and of course, that was one of the reasons why I didn't. The doctor recommended me not to go back to work because he told
Right.
me my immune system would be so weak I would pick up every single thing that blew.
Especially with younger children.
Yes,
It's more risky being around younger children when you're immune compromised than it is being around adults.
yes.
For some reason, I was told that too.
So, but that was the treatment. And during that time, I rang the bell September 11th,
Mm.
2015. I'll never forget that. That's my date. Um, during that time, I got to hmm, I got to know myself again
Mm.
because I was here in the house. All my friends were at work. I'm home all alone. So I got to learn me all over again. Um, I picked up hobbies. I couldn't even go outside and work in the yard. That kind of um, that did something for me. I had to learn how to do things in the house because I didn't have enough strength to walk up the stairs or
Mm.
come back down the stairs. I had enough strength to fix something to eat, but that was about it. Um, I finally got a chance to ride the Hum around Walmart, so in Kroger. So I thought I was doing something at that
Mm.
point. But I was so weak at that point that I couldn't even walk from the handicap park into the grocery store door. Um, and so now, okay, I'm trying not to cry. So now I
Yeah. It,
I understand and I appreciate just being able to get up and do whatever, because it was a time in my life that I know I could not do that because I just didn't have that energy or that strength to do that. But I know, as the song says, somebody prayed for me, and um, they had me on. I was on their mind, so they prayed for me, and so I appreciate that for all the people who cared about me enough to do that.
yes, indeed, and that's why I was going to bring that up. How much your faith, because you've always been in the church, grew up in the church, and grew into your faith. I know your faith was real strong, and how much did that really help you, along with your friends? And I can understand you being emotional if you have to, take your time, or certain things you don't want to cover. But that's fine. But I know your strength, and your faith, and your belief in God, and that it will be His will,
Mhm.
whatever happens. So how much did that help you through those times? I think I know the answer, but
um, it helped. You as a child, when you go to church and you hear all the things, you hear the minister talking, and you hear the I will call them the elders, the deacons, and they would get up and pray. You really didn't understand at that point. I
right.
really didn't, because you didn't go through anything. I mean, they talk about the, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But all of that just kind of hit me. It was real then. It was real then. Um, I didn't have anybody else to depend on. I had my mom and my dad and um, my children, but who else do you have to depend on when you don't have enough strength to do anything for yourself? You wake up and you call and pray and just ask God, just to thank you for, first of all, waking me up, but um just to give me that strength and the energy or the desire to just keep on doing, just to keep on living. But I took on a whole look of, obviously it's something that I'm supposed to be doing, because other than that, I would have left here. Other than that. And
Yeah, and
it's been 10 years now. So obviously it must be something I'm supposed to do. So I need to get about that business and do it.
yeah, I feel the same way. 10 years for me, going on 11. So I said he must have kept me here for a reason. So that's why I do some of the things like this, sharing information, sharing stories from people like yourself. Hopefully, it will help someone else, inspire somebody else to be their own advocate. To don't go within their cells with whatever's going on. Make sure you share that information and embrace the people that want to be around you. And somebody that's been always independent and strong like yourself. You really don't want to be a burden
Right.
to especially your children, although they're going to be there for you, or your friends, or your sorors, or people like that. And that's why it took you, or most people have to sort of rebuild themselves, like the title in the book says, the journey to rebuild my life. And you start doing some things that you weren't doing before, or joining some organizations you weren't a part of before, and just getting out there and reclaiming your life, because you can sort of go into that cocoon and say, "Woe is me, why me?"
But
And
I
I
never,
used to say, "Why not me?"
right. Well, I never felt that way.
Mm,
I never asked why. Um, at one time I did think that I do something to cause it, but then no, because babies have cancer. So
yes.
mhm. So maybe he picked me because he said, well, this crazy girl will probably keep on striving and trying to do stuff. So I count it a privilege that he picked me and cured me, and now I can do things to try to help other people. So yeah, that's the way I take it. That
Yeah, well, that's a good way to take it. This
not a punishment. It's a trial, and hopefully I pass that test.
trials and tribulations, they say it will be. And I see through the short chapter you did quote quite a few scriptures in that, and which showed your faith and how you probably were paying attention. I always talk about when we are young and we in church, and it doesn't seem like we're listening even to ourselves. But they be planting seeds in us
Oh yes,
that
definitely.
continues to grow as we grow, and before we know it, we grow right into those things that lessons that they were teaching us, even though we were running around the church and trying to get out of there so we could go buy candy or go to High's ice cream store.
I'm telling all
But
that secret stuff.
really,
Telling the process.
but really, they had planted that seed, and unknowingly, we didn't know, and that seed just grew and
Yes,
manifested itself
yes.
into the people we are today. So, and I definitely see that in you, and you know. I want to talk about. I want to shout out to you. I want to show you this because I know this is important to you.
Uh,
I want to shout out to your. Wait a minute.
who you pulling?
Well, you're not gonna be upset about this because this is part of your life too.
Yeah.
Your sorrows, and many of them I'm sure are watching. And one of the things when you pledged there, one of the things was service to the community, which you all continue to do well after you have pledged and leave the college life. And some people say, well, just be a part of it so you can be a part of that college life. But
Uh,
most black fraternities in the Divine Nine, they take that for the rest of their life and take it with them. So how much a part of being a part of such a prestigious sorority has been a part of your life, and how did that kind of help you as well go through some of the trials and tribulations that you faced?
um, again, is the service part. I can still do something. I can still do something. If I'm home and I might not be able to go out and deliver books because I'm on the book committee and we try to we do books and give books to various schools in Portsmouth. I might not be able to physically get up and go and do that, but I can count the books. I can package the books. Um, it gives me a niche for what I think I can contribute to all mankind, which is what our motto is: service to all mankind. So the sorority gave me leadership skills and camaraderie, leadership skill, but the mostly is the service part. Yeah, my sisters are there, but it's the service. I like that part. Mhm.
And it was fun in college, though, right?
Yes, it was.
That sisterhood there. But anyway, I just wanted to shout them out because I know that's a big part of your life as well. And so, as far as the book, how do people get the book if they want to uh, purchase the book? And
Uh,
because it's some other stories that the other women share as well that are
yes,
very inspirational,
yes,
that they'll get a big,
most definitely.
yeah.
I do have a link. I do have a link. Um, and so, can I give that out or can you
Yes,
get
yes,
someone?
go ahead.
It is,
Bluetooth disconnected.
uh-oh.
No, go ahead.
It is square.link/u/OYC capital RSDLY. Okay.
Okay, you can give it one more time, and
Okay.
because I was trying to write it down, I want to, and please, when we end, just send it to me because I will link it
Okay.
to this video.
Okay.
once it replays.
All right. It's https://square.link/u/OYC capital RSDLY.
And give the name of the book and the title of the chapter you involved in.
Okay, I'm gonna bend it down a little bit, see if you can see my shirt. Let me scoot up a little bit. It is called Surviving Her. Surviving Her. Can you see that? Surviving Her.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. And the journey of rebuilding my life. Okay. My chapter is entitled The Darkest Hours. And that's because from a time frame of 2013 to 2017, I had a domino effect. It just seems like things just kept hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting. And after all of that, I am still here.
You're
So
still here.
I am still here. After all of those things, all of those suppressions, all the things that I should have done, I learned from that. And my walk, my faith helped me guide myself through that. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't me. It helped God guide me through it because it was not me, because I don't have enough strength to do that. I put across that effort that I'm strong. I'm not. It's not me at all. I promise you.
Yeah, but people will definitely see that. Let me put this up. But people will definitely see that when they read the section that you put in there about the domino effect of things that happen one after another. And I think people will probably identify with that.
Mhm.
And it's always good, as we've been talking about the whole time, it's always good for someone to see that someone else is going through something that they
Or,
feel like they
or
sit alone
or
in.
as we learned, because we had a documentary, we had a book signing last Saturday,
Mhm.
and we did a documentary, and the ladies got to give a little synopsis of what happened in their chapter, and we're all crying because you think that you are going through something, but honey, there are people that are going through things much worse than we could ever imagine. Okay. um,
Yeah, everybody has their own journey.
Yes,
Indeed.
yes, yes,
And
yes,
and that helps, when you get in those group situations and find out that you're not alone in whatever you're going through, and you can lean on each other.
yes,
So
yes,
that's the best thing.
most definitely.
And I really appreciate you coming on and sharing such a personal story. And like I said earlier, we're going to have you back because we're going to talk about some other things. I want to know about some of those 32 years of teaching and some of the experience. I haven't had a teacher on here yet to talk about those experiences,
Oh,
and
well,
and I know that could fill up a whole hour. And the college experience and just growing up in Mount Carmel. I mean,
yes, yes, most
I,
definitely.
I I wasn't a member there, but I knew a lot of people there, so I spent a lot of time going there with my friends and all those trips to Washington D.C.
Mhm.
So I knew a lot of the people there, and it was some of the best times of my life experiencing with you, Valene Marie, Dennis Moss, and Miss
Yeah,
Moss, and
yeah,
Christine Moss, and all those things. So
yeah,
I'll never forget those times. It's times like that. But before we go, Roberta, I want you to probably, if you could, you talked about being an advocate for yourself one more time. If you were, like you all told your story at the book signing, book launching.
mhm.
If you were sitting in front of a bunch of young women or young girls, what would you tell them as far as making sure you look out for your health and advocate for yourself?
Be your own shero. Be your own shero. Make sure that you keep up with all your medications, all of your vaccines, all of the things that you're supposed to be doing for yourself. Don't take no for an answer. If the doctor says no, you can always go to somebody else. Um, be persistent. Document everything, and most definitely don't take no for an answer because it's something going on. The littlest things. If you're not sleeping at night, it's a reason why you're not sleeping. What are you thinking about? Seek counseling. That helps too. And I said that's something I should have done. I guess that's one of the stigmas in our community. I should have sought
Yes, it
counseling.
is.
I should have sought some kind of counseling, and maybe talking it through would have helped me be able to deal with some things that were just, like I said, the domino effect. But as far as your health, be your own advocate. Take care. Talk to your friends about it. Don't keep it to yourself. But that's it. Document, 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 because the companies do that. Everybody else documents. Keep up with your own stuff. All that paperwork they give you, put it in a file and keep up with it.
Yes, indeed. What great advice. And it's not always your physical health, it's your mental health as well. And you're right about the stigma in the Black communities. I think it's getting a lot better now. I
Yeah,
always tell people how if you have white colleagues or something like that, they have no problem talking about their shrink, or I had a session, and we are not going to, hey, you're not going to know that about me. But now we're getting better with realizing that we do need help sometimes, and being able to talk it out with a professional to
yes,
sort of get to the root of what might really be bothering us, not only physically, but mentally, emotionally,
yeah, because your
because
mental.
some of those physical things can take on uh, an emotional problem
And
for most of us.
a lot of things that we have is something that we have suppressed from
Right.
long time ago, from a child. You might not
From
realize until somebody starts, when you start talking about it. So yeah, it's good to be able to get it out.
Yes, yes,
Mhm,
indeed. And like I said, we are getting better with that as a community,
mhm.
but it can't be expressed enough. There's no harm, no shame in getting that kind of help, or bringing people that you trust into your life. You know,
Yes,
you can't tell everybody, your business,
right.
because they'll tell everybody they know your business.
Mhm.
But if you have a few people that you trust, that you can sit down and sort of uh, share information with, that you feel comfortable doing that. You need to do that too, because holding it in one day, if people be wondering what's wrong with her, you just explode one day and be fussing and cussing everybody out, and
Um,
everybody say, "Well, what did I do? I didn't even. All I said was hello."
uh,
But it's just you acting out on something that was suppressed from, like you mentioned, from childhood, or something that happened yesterday. So anyway, we have a lot to learn about ourselves, and what we need to do to take care of ourselves. And it's always a lesson learned, no matter how old we get. I'm learning every day.
Me too.
I'm,
Me
I'm
too.
getting older every day, but I'm still learning.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Never feel like you know it all. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I getting these comments in. Okay, thanks for sharing. Okay,
Thank you. Thank you so much.
and it's
I was I was I was nervous,
good to
but
see Renee up there
yeah,
making her comments.
that's one of my seasoned sisters.
Yes, indeed, from the Mount Carmel days. Yes, indeed. Okay, thanks again. Thanks everybody for watching, and remember to like, subscribe, and make your comments after the show, and we'll make sure that Roberta sees them. And please share them with other people that might be going through something, and just need that little push, or that little comfort, to help them through some times that might be the most difficult times in their life. But to know they have a friend, to know they have somewhere they can go, to know that they can advocate for themselves and do the best for themselves. You have to look out for yourself. But anyway, thanks again. I appreciate you. And stay on a little bit after we sign off, so I can make sure I get all the information from you. And buy the book, y'all. Go out and buy this book. You're gonna be pleased to buy this book, and read it, and uh, you're gonna experience some things that might help you in your life journey. Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. Let's sign off. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you next time on the Slim Nations One-on-Ones Experience.